gonna play a little video for you guys first. This is my friend Barack. He's actually a very, very famous church DJ with 6.5 million followers. Came to me one day about 2 years ago and told me he wanted to go to space. And most people, I would say, like, you're nuts and crazy, but I thought like, well, when would be a good time to actually do this? Figured, in the future, probably something, so invested, and we believe, like, music is actually a very, very big part of life, so this is kind of what he had put together for us. I'm just going to show it to you.
Our future life can be everything we imagine, and even things we can't. Built from the memories we make today, and the surprises we find tomorrow. That life can be ours. Just say, one day. And one day might come sooner than you think. Life World Tour.
So it's pretty cool. Barack has actually been touring around the world with this huge 50-foot statue that he already built and a space capsule, and it's actually got life on it. So you've been actually looking like music is actually a huge part of life. As cultures, music is a very, very important part of life. So let's see here. And this is actually Barack in the space capsule. And that's our friend's like dog, like the Leica project. So it's kind of sad, like Barack actually couldn't go to space this time because I think he went for capsule testing and his tooth burst because of the pressure. So he had to fly back to it. So Barack, all of you wish you could have made it to Miami, but hey, I didn't speak there, it was in the living room, so it actually worked out okay with it. It's funny how coincidences kind of happen. So it's quite, you really have to appreciate how much work, the event staff put in. Usually what I do is I just go on stage, I wear my suit, I don't really have to do anything. But now I realize there's a lot of work actually involved in getting this stuff, ready. So I just want to thank the event production staff, everybody for doing everything. Unfortunately, kind of due to some bad actors, the event did not go as well as we thought. So I think it's important to always kind of know where you came from. You got to be thankful for kind of where we are today in technology. And Steve Jobs' hero line. He's the only true entrepreneur that I really, really believed didn't care about money so much as we just cared about building product, right? So he had a very, very famous saying that, here's the crazy ones, right? And when he died in 2011, it's the only time I actually felt like I cried. I actually felt like we lost somebody because he was such an inspiration. Every single product we use today, it was an iPhone. And a big part of the inspiration of like when I built Life was just really, really focusing on the user. But we're in such a different generation now of crypto, and I think the younger generation now hasn't really been educated in kind of how we even got here in the first place. So there's a famous saying, honor thy father and mother, but you should also honor the people that built the industry kind of early on, the Intels, the Microsofts, the Yahoos, the Googles, the Apples. Like, Apple was 90 days away from bankruptcy. The Steve Jobs came back and saved it. I think a lot of people in this generation don't know that. So there's a couple of movies and everything I think that you guys should actually kind of catch up to really kind of understand where the philosophy of kind of how we built life is. Because I had a life actually before crypto, right? But what's interesting is life has a funny way of coming full circle. I mean, the most exciting part about this weekend was I started this thing with 500 bucks. One of my investors, like all my earliest investors, people that supported me before I was even in crypto. My friend Nadeem here, I used to fix his dad's computer and printer when I was driving a Honda Odyssey. Had to take my kids to school. It was freezing, like it was school in Montessori at like 6 a.m. And I remember just sitting in the car the whole time. I would be on my computer freezing my ass off programming, and then you just start hearing about, you'd get inspired from all the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. This person created this company, raised this much money with this VC, etc. And then at some point I was like, if you hang out with successful people and you look up to people that have very, very good moral backgrounds, they're family oriented. Yeah, sure. Even if they're degenerates, they kind of go to party. Like at the end of the day, there's always two sides to everything. There's the yin and the yang. There's the good and the bad. There's God. There's the devil. Like good and evil is actually in all of us. And that's kind of what I really, really learned about my journey in crypto. Is that you can't be too good and you can't be too bad, but you kind of have to be balanced in your life, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to money, sometimes people they get greedy. And it's happened to me, it's happened to all of us, but as you get older, this is why investing is so different than trading. And I didn't understand this, 47 now. But if you think about this, when you're 20 years old, if I tell you wait 4 years, that's a quarter of your life. That's a long freaking time. But when you're 47 and I tell you to wait 4 years, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's like what? Not even like, it's less than like 10%. So this is why a lot of people didn't understand why I built Life. Because most of the people that are younger, in their 30s, they don't have the financial experience and wisdom. So what I always recommend people do is invest more in what you can do for people to kind of learn from them versus, hey, what's in it for me? So how I would say I got lucky is I had nothing to really offer except, hey, I knew a bunch of beautiful women and I knew how to party. So all of my friends that were successful guys, I would take them out to parties, I would create some guys. So it was kind of like a trade in a sense. I got to hang out with some of the smartest people in the world, really, really cool, some and everything. And in exchange, my dream one day was like, these guys are all my heroes because these are the ones, entrepreneurs are the guys that every day, like, there's no win, lose, or draw. It's like do or die, right? There's a lot of the stories that you don't hear about. You only hear about the successes, but you never hear about 99% of failures because they either die or they drop off. And that's the part that I don't think people really, really kind of appreciate. I mean, because at the end of the day, life, you have success and you have failure, right? But for me, I think the journey to get here today is kind of coming full circle, really, really for me, and why I built Life in the first place. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. I think it's important that, I wasn't always rich, wealthy, like just like everybody, just like you, but I love what I do and, love people. I love to enjoy my life. I like free life, and I love being able to travel the world. I love meeting new people, and I love what crypto has actually done for me. I love how, when I started Bitcoin, this is exactly what was incredible yesterday. Even though, like, that bullshit that happened yesterday was the best thing that happened to me because I get to be myself. I don't have to, like, pretend. I can actually just show people that, hey, this guy is what he did. Expose the bad people. And I think that's what's special about crypto is everything's on the blockchain. So you can't hide from it, right? You can't hide from it. So there's so many good people in crypto that haven't even gone into crypto yet. And the reason they're not in it is because they're tired of getting scammed, they're tired of getting rugged and everything else. And I'm going to share with you why I actually built Life in the first place. Right? So I got into Bitcoin back in 2013. I started $500. It's a big arbitrage trader. we ended, like, I used to buy Bitcoin in Canada, sorry, Canada, selling US, buy it in China, selling US. So it was an amazing like trading opportunity. That's when all my friends that ran venture capital funds, they started to see like, hey, we don't understand this Bitcoin thing, but we believe in you. So having people that believe in you as a person is actually the most powerful thing because they help manifest your future. And honestly, I wouldn't be here without all the people that supported me, like Nadeem, Mateo, Tim Chang, Brini, Theodore, Ignat, and the list kind of goes on. It's funny because we started actually the first hedge fund in all of Binary Financial back in 2013, and we were tiny, but what happened was we were scrappy, we were very, very efficient, but we got stuff done, and the number one thing that we actually did was we built trust. And if you did an ICO between 2017 and 2018, there's a 15 to 20% chance that your trades were through us. So I was fortunate enough I got to invest in amazing projects like EOS, Block, Cardano, Ethereum, everybody kind of early on. And then what was nice is you really, really felt that sense of community, right? But I found like that group, a lot of the guys, they kind of didn't really look at like what's going on in DeFi. Like a lot of the early Bitcoin and Ethereum guys didn't really kind of look towards the future. So for me, that's kind of where the past for me kind of like diverged a little bit because I always wanted to create something, but I didn't want to create something unless there was a purpose. There's no point of creating a token because back in 2017, everybody's like, Harry, why did you create a token? I'm like, I'm running a hedge fund. Like, I'm a better trader. Why would I create a token? Like, there's no reason for us. I'm better investing. Like, I can't think of a reason why I would actually like buy one actually like create one from scratch. I'd have to have a purpose. And I just didn't, it just wasn't the right time then. In business, and I think any opportunity for success, 50% is timing. 25% is team, 25% is the product. So I believe really, really the time is now for DeFi, but it's like version 2 of DeFi. Very, very similar to like the first generation of the internet where you had, it was just Amazon and email, but you didn't have all like the viruses, all its security issues, and now we have that same problem with blockchain. We have, and I'm going to show this. This is actually why I created it. Okay, so just so everybody knows, this is because I had a lot more time today. I figured everybody wanted to ask me like what life is. Life isn't just a token; it's a whole ecosystem. This is why it took us 3 years to build. Right? It's a platform. It's a platform that other things can connect into, but it's also a brand. It's a brand that's designed to be on other blockchains as well, so that when people go to a blockchain like Solana, Ethereum, Phantom, they know that they're interacting with a trusted brand on that chain, even though there's bad actors on the chain. This is why Life was actually created in the first place. But to optimize for performance, what happens is if you want to run Life on, let's just say Phantom AB chain, no problem, but it's completely optimized to run on our own blockchain. And this is why, if you look at Apple, we've literally taken Apple's philosophy of vertical integration, and I'm going to go into this, like exactly what Life is. So welcome to Life. What is Life? Well, if you've been in Tube for a while, there's this meme. So actually, Life really, really started off as a meme. And if you look at this, it's like Life is Tomb and Tomb is Life. You're like, what the hell does that mean? The genesis of the meme actually came from Tomb, and I'll explain that in the Tomb presentation. But for now, just kind of remember, like this is kind of like the thing. Like just remember that life and death are kind of like the same thing, black and white. So they're kind of like two opposites of the same coin, of like the same coin. But the reality is, I saw something very, very beautiful in Tool, but then I realized by itself, once it gets to a certain size, if you don't have something to balance it, it will just kind of blow up when the conditions of the entire market are really, really, really bad, and then it'll just kind of crash. And that's exactly kind of what it did. So what I want you guys to know is I fell victim also to the addiction of tube and greed. So I'm going to, when I go to the tube slide, I'm going to have a huge warning. I'm going to tell you guys, like, you really, really, really have to kind of understand like what tube is. Like when you understand what it is, it's the most amazing thing, which is why the community is the best community in all of crypto and DeFi, and it's so hardcore, but there's a reason. Okay. So Life was born at the beginning of the bear market in like 2022 in June. So this might not make sense to you guys, but I'm just telling you guys, like first, to give a little bit of history and background. T-share emissions were ending, and T-share was this yield farming token that incentivized people to put liquidity into fancy blockchain. So what would happen is T-share, you have an opportunity to actually buy something, stake it in this thing called a masonry, and every 6 hours, if the price of Tomb hit 1.01 phantom, it would hit 1% of the supply. By the way, that's where the slogan Tomb is Life came from. Imagine having to answer that a Tomb is a senior project. It emits 1% every 6 hours, 1.01% when the sorry, 1% every 6 hours when the ratio hits 1.01. You lose your mind. So it was just easier to just come up with like, you know, the saying, and then we say read the docs. That was like a classic. So the opportunity to actually launch a project within DeFi that's maturing over an 8-year period. And why I picked 8 years is if you look at Silicon Valley, most projects, Facebook, Google, all of these things started in the garage, somebody's home, and then it took them 4 to 5 years. 3 years is kind of really when the product starts happening, and then 4 to 5 years, we're in the 3rd year now. So this is the most exciting part because the product is ready. And then you see exponential growth. You just pile more capital in. So, and then you also have to wait for like timing. Timing's right now. The US got the best president now. The king's back. So I wanted to really, really build something like running hedge funds and everything was great. But for me, I've always been an engineering and a product guy. But I love trading. So how do you choose between the two? So the beautiful thing about crypto is you get to do both. And the biggest reason now, my purpose of why I wanted to create a token and I wanted to create a project that I control and my team, people that believe in our vision, is because of what happened with Terra Luna, FTX, bear market. I mean, I lost 65 million in a single day. I mean, just even kind of going back and seeing the nightmares of how the whole thing kind of unfolded in DeFi. That problem never got addressed by anybody, by the way. Nobody has addressed the problem, and the reason nobody's actually addressed the problem is you're not incentivized to fix the problem, because most blockchains right now inherently, their only utility for the token is gas. So you're incentivized to have as many transactions running on a blockchain as possible. And I kind of discovered this back then. So right now, essentially what happens is there's a ton of volatility on the blockchain. The price of gas will spike because there's smart contracts that are built into the blockchain, or they've been deployed on the blockchain very, very, very early. These are extremely sophisticated contracts that only people that have the knowledge of building blockchain, solidity, and there's not that many of these people in the world. Like, you have to really, really have deep knowledge. I mean, I can do this. Because I tried to figure out like how does this stuff work. So all the flash loans, these are like very, very specialized domain expertise. You can plug this up into ChatGPT. I'll share with you guys. It's very, very sophisticated. I'm going to show you some of the this slide is a bit more technical, but I think it's important to share the technical because a lot of people still don't understand why I created a curated blockchain. I'm going to show you why. So right now what happens if the market goes super up or super down, it's very, very, very hard to get executed on most blockchains. Even Solana. Like how many of you here have noticed that even Solana with memes and even Ethereum, busy networks, gas price goes up, but you can't use the network. So imagine when the entire market dumps, there's a big event. That's what happened with Terra Luna. Terra Luna, I couldn't get out for 2 days. So imagine just being stuck there and watching the thing like kind of go down for 2 days. Well, that terrifies most people. And I've been through it. I've written projects up to like, from $0 to $4 back to like 0, right? But what was the best thing about going through that experience was, would you lose $1 billion to learn how to make, $1 trillion? Yes. So for me, it's like, would you lose $1 million to make 100 million? Yes, because that's a 1% risk. But in this case, what I saw with Tomb and what happened with the whole blockchain ecosystem was really a way to kind of revolutionize and really kind of show people that I believe this is the future forward of blockchain, and I believe we have like 2-3 year head start on everybody else, because nobody has really even looked at this. So the main reason I built Life, I was just sick and tired of getting scammed like that. Fucking tired of it. Okay, like, what was it? So many evil projects, all went on, except for Tomb. Tomb wasn't on until I actually bought it. It was like my favorite project. And I think it was, Tomb was one of the main reasons I wanted to put on like fan development conferences all. And I discovered a lot of stuff with Tomb. I mean, I would have never looked that deeply into Tomb, like at a contract level, but that's the first time I experienced front running. I think I sold about $1 million worth of T-shares to support the price of Tool. And then, I'm gonna go back and find the transaction share with you guys, but I believe the entire network stopped, Phantom stopped, like gas got jacked up for like 10,000. You couldn't sell. And then when you came back, it's like, hey, you got this much, you think you're supposed to get $1 million and you get $500,000 instead. So imagine 50% slippage, but for a trade that's supposed to be only 20 cents, you get front run. So then I started looking at this and I'm like, how is this possible? And then I started reading about MEV attacks. I started reading about sandwich attacks, front running, all of these things. And there's just so much of this stuff out there. There's a multi-chain hack that happened. It's like $300 million. Like, still hasn't been addressed. They say lawyers dealing with it, but I mean, I don't know. And the strangest thing that I noticed too was when I looked at, like originally, like I hadn't been running Phantom validator nodes for a while. We used to run about 60% of like the Phantom validator nodes, I think, back around the Phantom node, before Terra Luna. And I just looked at the Phantom blockchain like recently, even the validator nodes and everything else. There's only like 18 validator nodes on Phantom right now, since the Sonic upgrade. And the one thing that I thought was very strange was that I thought Sonic was an in-place upgrade for Phantom, but it turns out like they're two totally separate chains. So I'm not sure if it's the same thing. I haven't looked at it, but then someone brought it to my attention that there's two separate chains, and there's no history of Phantom on Sonic. And okay, so that's the reason kind of why I moved off why I created Life, was just, you can't build a house on a foundation of sand. For me, it was just very frustrating. I would do really well with something, and then something else would happen. So it almost felt like no matter how hard we worked on Phantom, we're just getting fucked all the time. And the multi-chain thing was just the last straw. Like, I can't build a successful like project on Phantom. Not that because I don't love Phantom, it's just because there's so much bullshit that keeps happening. Like, there's no other chain that got fucked by multi-chain. Or, I don't know, not as much. Like, it was the most. So anyhow, I was just kind of tired of it, and I said, you know what, we have to migrate to Ethereum. And I mean, look, I just kind of copied what Phantom did. Phantom, actual original token, is actually based off of Ethereum anyways. So you have to move from Ethereum to Phantom, and Phantom to Ethereum to Sonic, which means that you have to bridge. Phantom controls the bridge. Multi-chain, layer 0 doesn't control the bridge. So it's all kind of like really complicated stuff. But today I'm going to actually show you an example of what front running is. This is kind of more technical. I will kind of explain this, but I'm going to run through this actually quite quickly. So when I created a liquidity pool, do you guys know what liquidity pools are on DeFi? When you create a liquidity pool, I need to add a pair. So when I add a pair, you can't exactly get like the best price when you add the pair. You kind of approximate. But what I did is I actually watched as I created this liquidity pair. It's a brand new pair. It was actually, I believe it was a T-shirt and mine. Mine was a stable coin that was collateralized. That's like a different headache, but we'll talk about that today. So one T-shirt was equal to $8,700 before. Within 3 seconds of me adding this liquidity pair, it got arbitraged out, which means this thing is either built in the blockchain or it's built at the contract, like someone deployed a contract, and these are everywhere, right? So here's the transactions. You guys can kind of take a look. So you can see here, like within like 1 minute, this thing, it gets like out like so quickly, right? So these are like more for the nerds to kind of look at. But I thought it was important to kind of put it aside because people really want to know technically why did I build this. I built this so that it's impossible to put this shit on Lif3 or any product that is associated with Life. So even Chain that runs on Phantom, you cannot do this, right? And if that exists, it means there's an issue. Either only I did it because we don't allow every single contract that gets like put onto any of our chains has to be reviewed by a team before it gets deployed. And even on Lif3's testnet, we allow our vendors and everything else, just even allowing 2 or 3 different vendors on the testnet, it's like hundreds of contracts. And I'm just like, how is this possible, right? So I only, even on the Lif3 mainnet, right now that's the alpha, there's literally like 6 contracts because we completely locked down. We wouldn't let any of our vendors, so what we've realized is to keep the network pure, you read not allowing contract deployments is absolutely critical, right? Because if you allow contracts on, and this is going to happen in the future too, where we're going to be able to allow contracts to be turned on and off. This is done kind of like at the blockchain, like the consensus node level. But for now, whitelisting is kind of like the simple way of doing it. So like I said, I'm just going to run through this. But yeah, so that's why I created Lif3. I was just tired of getting scammed and front run. So I figured, okay. And I'm thinking 8 years into the future, 5 years into the future, 3 years in the future. So like I said, I'm a bit older, so for me, I'm more patient. A lot of the guys that are 20, 30, I think they're all amazing traders, don't realize that they're fish in a pool with sharks and they're the fish. So just understand this, that you guys aren't the apex predators in the space. The bigger fish wait and eat you. So just understand that. So Life is a DeFi ecosystem. It includes 3 tokens: Life, L-Share, L3 USD, which I'm going to go into detail a little bit more. It started off really as kind of a yield farming project to kind of continue on to, because T-shirt issues were ending, and I wanted to give something for people that had something to do while the market recovered. And it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And I think within 5 months of us launching Life, we figured out that consumer DeFi was really what we want to focus on. We want to make every single person in the world that wants to participate in DeFi be able to download a mobile app, use a blockchain, know that they're not going to get run, scammed, anything else, and at the end of the day that they're kind of in this little pocket on the internet that's kind of curated. What we discovered is this little pocket now is growing. People are just tired of getting scammed. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing about people losing money. I'm just tired of it, right? And I'm going to get to 2, because the 2 part is my favorite, right? So again, Life, longer term potential is the best. If you had a chance to invest in Apple back in just before they went 9 days bankruptcy with Bill Gates, if you look back on it now, raise your hands if you would have invested in Apple knowing what you know now about Steve Jobs. Raise your hands. 100% of the people in this room, because what did Steve Jobs do? He took Apple, that was a publicly traded, bloated company that had a bunch of crap, and then he slimmed it down to the iMac, then they came with the iPhone and everything else, and that's exactly what we believe is happening in blockchain right now. Is there's just too much stuff out there, but to build a proper ecosystem, you really, really need to take your time, find the right partners, build the software properly, and then really kind of showcase it to people. But more importantly, it's got to be real. It's got to be authentic. You have to build it, with integrity, and you have to have a purpose and a vision of why you're actually moving in the first place. So for me, I just want a safe place for all my friends, people I care about, to be able to experience DeFi. That's it. That's kind of how this all started. So it's going to be yield farming, DeFi swap, layer one blockchain, the game of life, Mobile Wallet, Game of Tomb, L3 Reserve. So as you see, the Game of Tomb, it's a subset of the life ecosystem. So understand that Tomb is part of life. Okay, even though life was born, the idea literally came from Tomb. It's kind of like, okay, well, in software development, it's kind of like an iterative project. You get an idea, and you have to make a pivot, then you improve, and then you kind of go back. And that's exactly kind of what's happening, because life is kind of encompassing everything. It's like this big foundation for a house, and Tomb is just a game that sits on top of the life ecosystem. All right. L3 Reserve is kind of our stable asset, stablecoin type project, because we were experimenting with stables and collateralized lending, but it's kind of a whole different beast. So I'll talk a little bit about L3 Reserve, and then memes are a very, very, very important part of culture now in crypto, so you can't ignore them. But then I thought, okay, I don't really understand memes yet, so I need time to really kind of absorb versus just chasing. Chasing is kind of how you lose money. So it's better to be involved, observe, and then when you have a plan, execute. And we have that for and other projects that we acquired on Phantom. These are all now part of like the life ecosystem, but we're going to categorize these and really, really put them with the book of life, because T-Bone, Fanti, Zoo, Gift. I mean, there was no way when I started, when we took over T-Bone, Fanti, and Zoo, that life didn't even exist yet. So when people ask me, what about T-Bone? What about Fanti? I'm like, well, okay, we're in a bear market, so what would you like me to do? Where's our airdrop? Where's our airdrop? I'm like, okay, you want an airdrop? No problem. I'll make you an airdrop on LifeChain, send it to you, then you're gonna ask me when liquidity. So it's like, I don't want to tell people that you're asking a stupid question, but it's a pretty fucking stupid question. I can give you an airdrop, then you're just gonna bitch at me about liquidity. Until there's liquidity, I'm not doing any airdrops because I want to give something that actually provides value. Okay, so thank you for bringing that up, so that yesterday, because I had to explain to people why. I would have loved to do it on that, but it wasn't the right time. So if something's not the right time, timing is everything. And you only get one shot, right? You only get one shot at doing stuff. Otherwise, you're going to ride it to zero. And I don't wish I would ride to zero again. So T-Bone, Fanti, Zoo, Gift, all of these, they are part of the life ecosystem. But they're going to be probably more like along the side, like Book of Life kind of encompasses everything. That's like a different slide. So, okay, so what is LifeChain? LifeChain is a curated L1, but what we didn't really tell anybody, because what I want to do, like if I tell people, you're not going to understand anyways, and then you just ask, like, what's up with the price? So I find it's better to wait until you have everything kind of together. And I wanted to kind of give like an announcement, like the thing yesterday, but yeah, this actually worked out better because it was a lot more than I realized. So everything that happened perfectly. LifeChain, actually, the plan is, right now we have an alpha network, and the difference between a permissionless networks and permission networks, curated is considered permission, but it's a less draconian word for saying permission. It's curated, so we only want to pick the best stuff. We have an alpha network, which is what everybody's on right now. And the reason we have this alpha network is we also have to test curated contracts, how it works, security level, but we have to have the nodes. So that's the only difference. is that the alpha network allows us to test stuff on validator nodes, voting, all of these things. In most blockchains, they just have testnet at production. And then mainnet, we have testnet, alpha mainnet, and we're gonna have auto mainnet. So auto mainnet is where all of our partners, we're gonna announce vendors that have actually already signed up for running validator nodes. And the main reason why we call Autumn, not because we're gonna fall, but it's to honor our friend Autumn Radke, who you're very savvy after the Mount Gox thing. She took her own life. So it was kind of it was a very, very traumatic experience for kind of like all of us. So this blockchain is really, really kind of, talked to my partners and whatnot. I think it was right to kind of dedicate this to her. She was very lovely. She's one of the people that told me about Bitcoin kind of early on. So that is that. So Autumn's going to get released probably in the fall. And the unique thing about LifeChain, what we want to do is make sure that the chains are always clean. So it's really designed more as an infrastructure network, which means we're not going to be deploying too many projects on it. Only tokens, so it's always as fast as what you see. But then you're going to have layer 2 as a service. So for example, if iGaming or games want to actually run, you spin up a layer 2, and the layer 2 bridges effectively with the layer 1 infrastructure networks. That's really, really kind of what we focus, because we're thinking of very, very, very long-term growth. Because if you run everything on the L1, at some point you're going to hit that point where you can't scale. And for me, scaling is one of the most important things. So product demonstration, I think, has everybody here has downloaded the wallet yesterday? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, I mean, if you're online, I guess, well, I don't know how we would do this online, because I want to just pick a random person that is on Discord or Telegram with an address, and then I just send it to them just to kind of show them how fast it really is. So, let's see. Does anybody, this is interesting. How many minutes are we in right now?
$40.
40? That was 40 minutes already. Wow. Jeez, that was my fast. Okay, so the product demonstration, I guess it's pretty tough to do a product demo on fire, right? So I guess, you know what we'll do is we'll have the mods set up a time for a couple of users, and then we can do another live stream just to really kind of demo that. We'll do that today, because it's kind of gone on for a little bit. So kind of really, really important to think about Life too, that Life is also a movement. It's not just about crypto, it's kind of rad, it's kind of a way of life. It's kind of like what happened yesterday. Right? What happened, it's just like good things happen, bad things happen, and then you just kind of deal with it. Really, really excited. Community is probably the most important thing. I would not have built this or continue to do this, the amount of suffering, the amount of money I had to spend, but totally worth it. Because, you only really appreciate success and amazing things when bad things happen to you. The community of Life too, it's amazing. For the last 24 hours, everybody's kind of gotten together, and there is a human at the end of every single account. People respect the fact that, hey, I need to sleep, let me sleep. I'd say, hey, need 24 hours, everybody be nice. And it's funny, the chat rooms are quiet today. It's not like crickets, but people are talking about bubble tea. They're talking about, what's happening today? There's the planetary alignments or something. There's so to me, community is the most important thing. But if you're the founder, you're one of the biggest investors in the project, and you just see people bitching and complaining all the time, you're kind of like, you know what? You kind of shut it off. But here's the problem: you shut it off, you can't. It's like a catch-22. People want to know what's going on, but because they're invested in it. But there's so much negative energy there. So what I think I discovered yesterday is we're going to create channels where people can avoid, because negative feedback is very, very important to you. Learn a lot of things from negative feedback. It's just when the negative feedback is like attacks on people, names, it's not constructive. And you know, I want intelligent responses. Some of these people, when they respond, I'm like, did you go to school, or did you like how are you raised? Like, you know, there's got to be respect. I think first off, that's very, very, very important. You know, I'm anti like bullying online, all of this stuff. So now, like, I mean, after what happened, like, you know what, I hate bullies. So if you say anything shitty to me, you've deleted your message history, I'm still gonna share with other people. We talk shit. So community, I want to build a community where there's no toxic behavior, right? Because if you put this out, you're gonna get it back, right? It's just, this is kind of how the universe balances itself. And why this is so important is, this is the year of authenticity, right? And to me, in cryptocurrency, now, the real currency that's important, it's not attention, that's in the past, right? Market caps, volume, most of the volume in crypto is fake. It's all fake, centralized, it's all fake. Even in DeFi, Solana, it's cheap to run transactions. Like, I tested a lot of this stuff, most of it's fake. Even account growth, all this stuff, most of it's fake. Because when you really, really go up there and really, like, grassroots try to build stuff, you realize how difficult it is to get 1,000, 10,000 users. I mean, yesterday was amazing. I think we got like maybe 30, 40 users, but that's just because people are gathered in a small amount, in a small group. But once you give it to a bunch of people see a great product, that's how it grows. That's how Bitcoin really, really first started. That's why this is so exciting. So to me, the most important thing right now is trust and authenticity. That if that's not you, don't be part of this project. But this is kind of what we want. This is why I built Life in the first place. So enjoy life, you know. I mean, my friend's Pure Gasly, 50440. It's awesome. I get to, you know, I love racing. Best part is combining work with play. So isn't it great that, you know, we get to be part of F1, MotoGP? These are things that I couldn't do when I was younger. I didn't have the money to like race motorcycles and drive Formula 1 cars. But now that I'm older, I can still be a part of it by supporting them and their dreams, right? You know, Formula 1, you know, you get to DJ, you get to like hang out with the best DJs, you know, Artbad, you know, Rambat, Tailbus, all these guys get to go to the coolest parties. You know, Barack, you know, Sasha, you get to meet the coolest people. And to me, what's really, really unique about Life that no other crypto project really has, it's culture. And at the end of the day, you want to be part of something when it's cool. So for me, I wanted something that, you know, at 6 a.m., if I want to go party and have fun, I can. If I want to go back to work, I can. So for me, I live life every single day. And there's a famous saying that I think Steve Jobs says, if you live an everyday like it's your last, you'll almost certainly be right. So for me, this is why I built this project, because I love to work and I love to play. And we're going to play after this. But first, I've got to go through some of the more fun stuff. This is something. So probably the most, there's two super exciting like partnerships that, you know, we did that I wanted to announce. Most of you guys may or may not have heard about the Jumbo phone. Jumbo phone is really, really, really cool. It's the $99 smartphone. We met the guys, you know, James, James and you know, his team, Sam, whatever, and they had this incredible phone right here. And if you take a look, you can't really tell the difference, right? But this is $1,000 and this is $99, right? And the performance is really, really cool. It's like a version 2 of the phone. It's designed really, really kind of for like the emerging market, Brazil, you know, in South America now, half the time. But the coolest part is there's going to be over 1 million phones that are going to be distributed. We'll have the Life wallet already pre-installed, and we're going to airdrop millions of dollars with tokens onto the network, so you have network effect right away. It's actually quite exciting, because if you saw what happened yesterday, imagine that, 1 million, 10 million. So this is really, really kind of the vision we're thinking of. And it's a beautiful phone, it's light, but what's really, really exciting is, you know, they were pretty busy, but we've talked to them about building a Life phone. Okay? So to me, Steve Jobs says people that love software build their own hardware. And my boy Nadine here, he built Basis, which was the first wearable before the Apple Watch. I think it held for like what, 140 or something. It's crazy, but it was so cool. So what's happening now is vertical integration means, okay, so what's amazing with the Java phone is it's the first generation Web3 phone, but the Life phone, it's really just focused on what I believe is all you need for like the best experience in like the Life ecosystem. So it's curated. So you have a curated smartphone, so security, all of these things. So it's really, really, really exciting. As we get more information on the specs and whatnot, this will be kind of more of a higher end phone, probably like a 299, 499 because we want higher screen, eSIM, this kind of thing. But we'll kind of release a little bit more details. But we've just started talking about this. And Michael Gord from TD Capital, how are you? Come up. Let's go. So Michael has been a long-time friend. I think it was you. Michael's a long-time friend, and a lot of you guys have probably seen there's like another app called Life in the App Store. What's really, really cool is like you have a friend, our good friend actually has it. We found this an incredible partnership, and Life is actually going to be taking the name and brand assets of Life, and then Life, the project, the software is actually going to become flashy, and they're one of our main partners for the on-ramp and off-ramp. So did you want to talk anything about the partnership? Yes.
Yeah, so for the past few years, I actually acquired this business. I didn't come up with the name myself, so it just happened that we ended up with the same brand name. But we've been building out DeFi infrastructure for the past, well, including the acquisition, since like we acquired it in 2021. And the software's been building since 2019. So now you put this robust suite of DeFi, decentralized finance infrastructure, and rather than us go to market, and we do have a consumer application which we're going to continue to develop, and actually similar, we have got very similar thesis in terms of how we want to approach the market, but really where we want to separately from like the crypto.coms and other big DeFi companies, we want to provide our decentralized finance as a service, digital banking infrastructure as a service to other platforms that want to integrate, want to turn on decentralized finance rails immediately without needing to spend years building out software. So we've closed a number of deals with social applications that have in the millions of users. We'll be providing their back-end decentralized finance rails, digital banking rails. And our objective is to power any number of platforms that want to have, like for a lot of social applications, especially seed stage, your core business is looking to acquire users, not build out digital banking. So we already have all this infrastructure, and we can provide it to them from our end for free. We just want to be acquiring users. So it's really natural progression to partner with Harry, because outside of Life, my core business has been working with and building businesses from this stage of life up to multi-billion-dollar market capitalizations. My start with venture was I was the first person Tron brought on when they delisted from Chinese exchanges, and that's to give their capital back to Chinese investors at a $20 million market capitalization. And I saw the story, among others, of Tron expanding internationally and going from a very small user base to a very large user base by onboarding lots of applications over and over, creating massive awareness, integrating into culture. And I think that the stage that Life's at is something that, in addition to us being able to accelerate the DeFi adoption and the distribution of Life through the decentralized finance as a service and our on and off ramp business model, the whole ecosystem that I've been building over the past decade with dozens of businesses that have all kinds of traction in various niches, for us to be able to now integrate layer one that we've got, that we're a really key partner in, is super exciting for us, and something that I think can really move the needle quickly for Life. In addition to all the things that, we want to be backed with founders that are working with founders that are going to do it or can do it themselves. And if we can provide an accelerated path, and if we can be, helping to turn on jet fuel and bring more businesses faster, then for us that's a win-win-win. So yeah, we're really excited about our recent merger with Flashy and onboarding some really key executives there, and now partnering with Harry and having Life as a key back-end blockchain infrastructure for us to be introducing to all the businesses that now Flashy Finance is going to be powering, as well as all the businesses in the GD portfolio for us to be integrating into the Lif3 network. So
Thanks, Michael.
let's go.
And okay, so my friend Tatiana, she actually introduced me to Michael about back 20 years ago. It's 2020, just like very early on. So this is an amazing book called The Myth of Money. Apparently, yeah, she told me that I'm in this really 10%, so I don't know. But Michael, thank you so much. Look forward to partnership.
Long road ahead.
Yes.
Long road ahead. It's
Yeah.
the beginning of a long journey.
It is.
And, it's gonna be fun if nothing else.
And don't have an exact date yet, but we are going to do a Life Developer Conference. Probably in Abu Dhabi again. Maybe at Emirates House, don't know yet. Superline, I mean, this is the big question. So this is who I am. Harry A, Managing Director of Quantum FinTech Group, but also founder of Life, the investor, managed over $2 billion in assets, pre-Terra Luna, of course. Invested Bitcoin early on, ordered the Quantum Miami Conference and Developer Conference, based in Abu Dhabi, UAE, but now also Paraguay and Brazil, South America. And thank you all. However, we're not done yet. I will try to keep this max 20 minutes, but I'll break over because we're all too degens, aren't we? This is what you guys really came here for, right? Like, no problem, you know. Everybody kind of asked me like about Tomb, when's Tomb coming back, when print, blah blah blah. And when you tell people the same thing over and over again, and they just keep asking you the same question, it's either they're stupid or they just don't pay attention. And like I told you guys, when the time is right, Tomb will print naturally, but you gotta wait for the right conditions. Okay, so read the docs, understand what Tomb is, and when I told you that the perfect conditions that exist for Tomb to print, the universe will have it print so that you don't have to manufacture prints. Okay? That's the danger of tools. When you manufacture prints, that goes to what's called greed. But when prints are created naturally because of certain market conditions, that, you could not have asked for a better market condition than this thing. I don't know how I didn't see this until I started looking into it yesterday. Guess it's just kind of all time. So, I think it's important to, again, history. This kind of all started, I think, in the summer of 2020? 2021? What's the last one? 2021. So summer 2020, I was in South France. Girlfriend and I and my brother, some of my friends, this is after we did really well, kind of fancy, so rented a yacht. Was in South France all summer, and we went to the Greece side, and then I started looking online, and then people were talking about this Tomb finance thing, and I was like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. People said, oh, it's scary, I'm seeing rich project, blah blah blah, and then I couldn't help myself, but I was just like, wow, the APRs on this thing is pretty crazy. You know what? I'll throw a couple $100 in, just kind of see what happens. By the time, everybody came back from dinner, I made like $500. I was like, oh. So then I just kept doing this again, and again, and again, and then pretty soon 500 became 1,000, 1,000 became 2,000, then 5,000, then 10,000, and then I think when something happened, like there's some tax inefficiency and stuff, and the thing it died. And then, I was like, but this is my favorite game in all of DeFi. No, can't save it. This was back in 2021. And since then, I think Tomb has the best organic community, hardcore crypto DeFi users I've ever met. I'm one of them. So, little background story, I did not start Tomb, I acquired it. I acquired it, I think, for like, a few $100,000, you kind of at the bottom, because I saw the potential of like the technology and kind of like the use, and I thought, at that point I was running about 60% of like the validators on Phantom securing, and the use case for Tomb was actually really, really, really important. So what's interesting is, you guys are not gonna do this when you see this. So this is my slide deck from 2021, which is the Phantom Developer Conference, right? So people don't actually realize that I have nothing to do with Phantom at all. I was a huge community member. My friend Stellian Malta, Pepperstream Capital, very close friends for a long time. OG told me about this project. Invested early on, from Andre. Got short-changed a bit, but whatever. Talk about that. And then I really, really kind of believed in kind of what they were doing. I just thought, okay, look, it's really cool. Directed acyclic graph, EVM, and then I saw all the stuff that they were doing with like, I think Andre was working with multi-chain guy and Daniel to bring Popsicle Finance over USDT. This is like very, very, very early on. And, I saw like, really, really smart guys. And you can even look at Twitter posts, multi-chain. So that's kind of how it all really started. And I was like, you got some really, really smart guys. I'm going to support all these guys. Daniel, Sesta, Andre, and even I think multi-chain giant, Tao, whatever. So I was the guy that really kind of invested and really kind of believed in these guys. You got some smart people on Phantom. Let's support them. Let's put together a Phantom developer conference, and all the stuff's actually online, YouTube. You see Andre, Daniel, everybody speaks. They're all there. It's amazing. It's like the best community. We even had Phantom awards, an award ceremony for Phantom. So I was the most gung-ho, hardcore Phantom guy out there. That's why everybody thought Phantom was my project. But Phantom wasn't my project. I was just a really hardcore believer. When you really believe in something, you put your heart, life, and soul into it. And I wanted Phantom to be the platform. I wanted to create like the Microsoft, the Google Developer Conference for Phantom. That's why I spent $3 million doing this in Abu Dhabi. Phantom didn't have to pay that. I spent money on the whole thing. I even did a deal with Binance. Spent like $3 million with them to actually build a dedicated exchange, Binance Cloud, for Phantom's network. So if you guys remember Felix.com, so I think I paid $2 million for the domain name and $3 million, so actually $5 million. So I invested so much money into the Phantom ecosystem that if it wasn't for all the bullshit, this thing would be the most freaking famous blockchain. Like if I had to put it out anywhere else, like this is why I don't know if it's just bad luck or just a lot of bad actors. Like you can't. To me, this, anyhow, I will kind of show you, because I'm one of the only people on Phantom that's not really unknown, right? I'm not anon. So it's easy to point the finger and blame me if something goes wrong, because it's Harry, it's his buddy. No, it's just an investor. I have no decision-making capability. They wouldn't listen to me anyways, right? So it's like, it's not my project, but I love it. I still love it. You deploy life on it, life swap, everything else. So I think it's important to kind of go back a little bit in 2021. So I'm going to show you slides so you can actually see kind of what Tomb is. Rather than, because when I was going through the slides today, I was like, okay, a lot of stuff is like similar. So rather than rehash what the newer one is, I'm just going to use the slide from 2021 because this one really, really kind of shows you what Tomb is, kind of why I did Tomb in the first place. So migrating projects with Tomb Finance, okay? Tomb Tuesday, that's kind of where it came from. Not Talk Tuesday. So what is Tomb Finance, or what is Tomb? Tomb is an algorithmic backed stablecoin designed to peg Phantom. One Tomb equals to one Phantom. And Tomb is a senior rich project, which means it can expand and contract like the money supply. It is a smart contract central bank. that's completely automated, and it runs beautiful. Once you remove like the tax issue that was here, this thing runs perfect by itself. Okay. Project is actually based on Basis, which was created by No Quan. So the difference is that Basis was pegged to the dollar. This was pegged to Phantom, which I thought was really, really cool because there's an infinite amount of US dollar, but there's only a finite amount of Phantom. So because there's only a finite amount of Phantom, 2 million Phantom, well, if that means Tomb price would technically be infinite. Like, think about that for a second. There's an infinite amount of US dollars, there's only a finite amount of Phantom. So it means the more scarce Phantom there is, hint, hint, the more relevant Tomb actually becomes. So, there's 3 tokens, T-Bond, T-Share, and Tomb, okay? And I didn't create this, but I saw the beauty in this. And why is Tomb Finance important to Phantom? Very, very simple. This was the #1 project on Phantom, full stop. You could not, like, this thing was a monster. People didn't even know what Phantom was and they came to Phantom. Like, you didn't know what Phantom was, you didn't give a shit. You just, Ape! He goes, Ape, here's money, 100K, 200K. How much you put in?
400K.
400K. 400K. Didn't even know what it was. And the deal's actually been around, like, God, since like 2021. So at one point, I'm going to show you guys the next slide. They have 1.5 billion in TVL. And I think Phantom only had like 3 billion or like 4 billion in TVL. So this thing was the monster of Phantom. And of course, all the other DeFi projects hated it. But I mean, why hate? It brought liquidity here. But what happened was because it's announced, everybody started attacking it. And I couldn't understand why people attacked like the Tomb community, right? And you know, there was this 2-on, 3-on thing that kind of happened, you know, and people started copying and forking and watching. And I actually didn't care that people forked it, but it was the first time I saw people forking, rugging, and I was just like, that's not right. Because money, someone actually earned that money. So, to me, energetically, you steal, you know you stole. It's a negative thing, it stays in your conscious, and at some point, it is going to come back to you. So every single person out there that has actually stolen, you know who you are. It's going to come back to you, right? It's called karma, like it's the natural thing, because we're all connected. Think about this, if we're all connected, it means good, evil, also, we're all connected. So the bad people, you all know who you are. I'm not going to tell you who you are. Like, you know who you are because you hide. But don't worry, the fun part of Tomb is we get to expose you, right? This is one of the reasons I actually created Lif3. I was just tired of people bullying other people, talking shit, and you think you have no accountability like online because you're behind a thing. Well, no, we will expose you offline too, right? So this has been one of the core missions, and I experimented with this. So it's like I trolled the internet and I got away with it. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I got away. I mean, sure, I'll spend money, but whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, I had fun doing it, actually. I mean, I had fun. You know, who doesn't like mama jokes? Who doesn't like, look, I'm Canadian, so it's okay to have a sense of humor. Like, when did all of a sudden, and that's the other thing too, like, woke, like, everyone's so woke. Thank God Trump's here. Like, out with woke and in with common sense, right? So now at least look out, bad people. So look, Phantom has a fixed supply. Majority of it was locked in Phantom validator nodes, and it was designed to be used interchangeably with Phantom. So how Tomb Finance actually works, before, don't worry about this, this is the 64 thing, this isn't really applying anymore because there's no more T-share missions. Because there's no more T-share missions, there's no incentive for people to actually create liquidity pools, Tomb Phantom, T-share Phantom, right? That is the responsibility of like the Tomb DAO, which of course is part of Lif3. Because Tomb's life and life is true. You get it. You can't have one without the other, right? Now you guys understand why T-share missions last 8 years now. Tomb version 2, I'll talk about it later. So first, saving Tomb Finance. Gotta save it. Fucking love it, I'm sorry. Why? It's the most fun freaking project. I love Tomb. After the gatekeeper exploit and this thing went tits up, I was like, no, look at the 0.04 cents. And I was like, no, I have to save Tomb. And I was sitting with my buddy Ali, he was like, serious? I'm like, yeah, dude, like, what else are we gonna do? Like, we've been doing this for, here's the crazy part. That was what we did every day. Just sit in front of the computer, masonry, click, 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 click. We'd go out, eat, watch TV, masonry, click, click. It was the best. So imagine doing the same thing every day. You know, people tell me that you bought this, and it was nice that, you know, when you use the money from Tomb to like kind of like support your family, I think it's great. But then of course, yeah, we greed. I'm guilty of it, you know. I think on a single day, the most Tomb I ever yielded was about 6 million every 6 hours. Plus with Phantom and I think T-Share, it was about 32 million in a single day, like, which is insane. There's no other project in DeFi that even comes close. I don't care, meme coins, nothing. Nothing is going to give you that much liquidity, real organic like traction. And it's actually sustainable. So this thing lasted about 5 months. But I saw something Tomb helped me see. Tomb helps you see like the real evil shit in DeFi. That's why I think I was just so attracted to it, because it's like, it shows you what bad people are. Like, where the evil is. Because you want this thing to survive, so you want to protect it at all costs. Like the Tomb community is actually like the best community, right? So I mean, first let's look every 6 hours. This is before 1.06. 380%. Okay, 20,000 T-share staked. Ooh, God, it's making me all like, ooh, wow. Like, you get all horny just looking at this shit. This is on the liquidity pair. This is back in 2021. Okay. I gotta call it like $500 million in TVL, 200. This is real money. It's not bullshit money. It's real money, right? And then T-bonds. You know, T-bonds. If you got balls, you buy T-bonds. And at one point, people were buying T-bonds because the price of Tomb was actually $4, and they were waiting for Tomb to drop so they could buy T-bonds. So that when the price went up, I mean, look at this. Like, I mean, that is like the most ridiculous chart I've ever seen. It is what? It went from like zero to like $1, like in October, and then I don't think people realize. No, it's $3.61. Sorry, it was 0.042. It went to $3.61. This is in 2021. In a matter of 1, 2, yeah, this is the Phantom development promise, you see? What was it, October? Like, boom. Like, just, yeah, billion overnight. That was it. Yeah, wow. Holy shit. And, wow, T-share? The thing is, you don't even realize when Tomb goes up, T-share rockets. And because people get all horny and all excited that it's going to print. Okay, and I tell you, there's nothing like a print. All right, nothing quite like it. Because this is the one thing that's not controlled by, I mean, you can influence it, but I find that it's more fun to have the print acquired actually. So T-share, I think, went from $14 to 24,000. Let me show you guys. So, you know, saving Tomb finance, let's see. Tomb Labs created, developed, maintained Tomb. We continue to do that. So, like, you take a look here. This is the original Tomb. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Style fund, okay, there's all this stuff. Community. To me, again, the most valuable asset is the Tomb community. Without the Tomb community, there would be no Life community, because we're really the same people. Look, you can't say, I don't love Tomb, because, hello, like, I got Life from Tomb, so if I'm not paying attention to Tomb, it's because my attention needs to be creating something to support Tomb. Do you understand? If I didn't spend the last 3 years working on Life, do you think I would be able to support Tomb again? No! So you're welcome, everybody. Like the team, this is what we built life. Tomb is life, life is Tomb. The time is now. Okay? This stuff is kind of like a big, but except for like the group stuff. It's like you can't go to the strip club every night of the week when you're in Miami or Canada. Like, I don't know. The whole point is you need to have balance in your life, right? I mean, I'm sorry, I just gotta say this, right? I had this guy yesterday, I gotta share this message, share it, and I'm like, this is actually really funny. I have, because I'm like, okay, because look, this is an example of someone, you know, like Eddie Corbs actually posted this just for fun. Sorry buddy, but whatever. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Stop crashing out and focus. You don't do shit for us. You need to go on an inner discovery. Not a good luck going to strip clubs at these conferences either, degenerate. I'm like, what's wrong with strip clubs? You don't like pussy? And then I click on an emoji, kind of like laughing and everything else. And then he goes, oh my god, I give him attention. Sorry, I just got mad that I got banned from Life and Tomb's Discord. That is all, sir. So I'm thinking, I'm like, do you know Kim Kardashian had harassing threats? All trolls want his attention, so you want to give him attention, but I'm positive. But I'm not being mean to him, I'm just asking him, like, who's us? I have no idea who you are, and why are you using all caps? Are you trying to scream? Well, what did you do? Do you think talking to me like this will get you back? I'm like, yeah, calling me a degenerate and liking strip clubs is really, really going to hurt my feelings, right? And then I'm like, maybe? He goes, maybe? And I'm like, sure, if you agree to publicly apologize for being disrespectful tone to me, and I'll let you back in. I'm like, which group? And he goes, man, unfortunately, I have lost too much money in Tomb, and you in the many months so far disrespectful to us, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, check the channel from yesterday, clearly. But you can't check the channel, it's got banned. He's a troll. So then I couldn't help myself. I'm like, can you just answer this question? Like, but seriously, like, what's going on? I mean, he just kept asking me, and then, you know, because I'm trying to understand, I want to find out why people attack other people. Right? So for me, it was a really, really good way of engaging somebody for just attacking me. And he goes, oh yeah, please. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm super happy. Like go to strip clubs. And, you know, in the same chat group, blah, blah, didn't seem that way, and I'm just like, market timing. And then he gives me a hard time about posting this in the group. I'm being authentic and real. Right? But the answer was, like after 4 times, he doesn't like strip clubs. Okay, so then, you know, actually he hasn't responded yet. Oh, he hasn't read my message. So to me, I kind of enjoy this level of engagement, but what I find is I'm not going to mix this level of engagement with like the main channel in Tomb, because if you notice in the last 24 hours, I said, hey guys, thank you for letting me sleep 24 hours. Everybody be nice, you get one warning, and then, sorry, you're going to get kicked and banned. But I believe negative energy is also super important. It's super important because people are just dying to say stuff. They just are. I mean, look at me from yesterday. I couldn't wait. I got so much shit I want to say, but I don't want to flood the positive stuff with like the negative stuff. So you have to create a negative channel energy, and you have to. Santa Claus has a naughty list. So we're creating a naughty list in the Tomb channel, just for you, naughty people. Okay? So this is one of the beautiful things I love about Tomb, because if you're in Tomb, you're badass. You don't give a shit because you got balls. But if you're not, your balls, and you pick on other people, then you're a pussy. So, but we welcome all trolls because it's just a chance for us to take your money. Okay? In Tomb. And then make fun of you. Now, that's part of the game of Tomb. So this is why I love Tomb. It's a chance to take down other fuckers, alright? Tomb is the ultimate motherfucking degen play in DeFi. Big risk, big reward. You have been warned, okay? If you don't have balls, I don't know, like, fountain of life, okay, sure. Like, life is great, but I'm not just saying, if, to me, like, this one you really, really have to understand the game, because otherwise you will get crushed. Okay, you will get crushed. It's not for everybody. This is why the community is so hardcore. Okay? So a tomb is an algo backstable designed to protect phantom. One tomb is equal to one phantom. Well, 1.01 tomb equal to phantom. Tomb has features, it extracts and contracts. Project is based on basis. Talked about this a little before. Tomb, t-shirt, you want. Now, you saw the slide before of why I saved Tomb. Fate has a unique sense of irony. Why is Tomb important to Phantom in circa 2021? You saw the previous slide. Phantom has fixed supply. Limited Phantom available, majority locked nodes for validating. Designed to be used interchangeably with Phantom. And I don't know why I didn't see this until someone pointed it out to me. It's the same shit, but it's even better. Today, Phantom has fixed supply, limited Phantom available. I don't know why they did this, but the majority of Phantom is moving to Sonic, and it might not be one way, like Phantom controls it, so I'm like, this is the perfect condition for Tomb to print. Somebody saw this. This is why it's spiked at 500%. It's designed to be used interchangeably with Phantom, so Tomb and Life can be voted to actually provide rewards to validator nodes. Because right now, you're not incentivized to run a validator on Phantom. But when Tomb prints, and you say that Tomb can be used to reward validator nodes, that's a game changer right there. Because now you've got two awesome networks, right? Like, you know, because Sonic and Phantom, like, I don't know, kind of, like, I think Phantom, like, because that's the thing is, Phantom Foundation and Sonic Foundation are related. Do you guys even know? I assume it's the same thing, but, I mean, they're rebranded, but they're running two chains. I mean, it's the same people. So, like, I haven't really looked into it too much, but you guys, somebody can help answer, because I just started looking into this about, like 2 days ago, 2-3 days ago. But when I saw this, it is the perfect condition now for Tomb to print. Like when I saw this. So the crazy part is in 2021, it was saving Tomb finance. 1.5 billion TBL. Okay, I found this picture. 1.5 billion. Okay? There was 900 million bucks worth of T-shares. Okay? Staked. Actually, 40,000. It's crazy. I'm going to show you guys the price of this thing. Alright? Everyone gets so excited we're talking about Tomb. I think everybody, it's like, you get traumatized, but you remember how good it was before the trauma. So you see here, this thing, I think it was about, when I bought it, it was like 14 bucks. Below, and look, it hit a peak of 24,000 US naturally. And then Tomb actually was higher than Phantom. It actually hit $4, right? And then it kind of went down and everything else. So there's about 300 million Tomb right now that's actually in circulation. And I expect that the way this thing right now, depending on kind of how, like I haven't plugged in the Phantom guys, so I don't know. I have to kind of ask them. But now when I look at this, the opportunity really is, well, there's a great way for the community to actually support Phantom if Sonic doesn't want to continue to maintain Phantom, but I don't know how that's going to work. So here's the irony. Now we're using, there's a group out there called Save Phantom. So using Tomb to save Phantom, the blockchain. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. You can't make it up. So this is the current masonry right now. There's already 10,000 T-shares staked, and it's the epoch started running, I think, like 2 days, like yesterday. And it means the price of Tomb's already kind of gone up. It's been going up. But what I expect is going to happen, and look, this is like a hypothetical thing. We've never been in a situation where a blockchain, I don't know, like the only thing that I remember that was similar to this was like Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. But when Ethereum like forked to, Ethereum Classic forked to Ethereum because of that DAO hack, Barry Silver, I think they took it over and just continued to run Ethereum like a separate chain. This is really unique because there has been no focus on Phantom blockchain except this community, but it seems like there's like hundreds of people now that are just talking about Phantom and Tomb. I've been focused purely on Life, so I haven't even looked at this until like, I guess 2 years ago. Wow. But wow, 4,000% APR. It's pretty crazy. And here's some of the charts that I saw the other day. I mean, because the ecosystems are linked, when the price of Life goes up, the price of Tomb goes up, the price of T-shirt goes up, so it's all connected. It's all connected. And I started looking at why is it all connected? Because what happens is this constant arbitraging and rebalancing. And because the ecosystem is a lot more mature now, there's also Tomb Chain, the layer 2 that runs on top of Phantom. So I don't even know why there's this like Save Phantom like group. I mean, to me, I don't think Phantom would not continue to support this because, well, there's no history of Phantom on Sonic, and I've never heard of a layer 1 not having history. Like, blockchains are supposed to be immutable. So if it was immutable, then Sonic would have a history of Phantom, but Phantom history is not on Sonic. So I think Phantom will be fine. Actually, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine because Tomb is on it. And Tomb people are not gonna let Phantom die, I'm telling you. I love Phantom, everybody here loves Phantom. Phantom was like my first child in crypto. But I was just tired of the shit. I was tired of the scams. So I didn't leave, I just didn't put my time and energy on it. And then everybody said, oh, here's the Phantom. No! I was just focusing on what, because in life, I only want to focus on positive things in my life, including building things I love. Phantom was just such a toxic environment and so much evil and bad people. They don't appreciate, like the people that were actually on there just did not appreciate. So I said, look, you're not going to learn to appreciate it. And that's why, you know, for me, like building Life, the main reason I built Life 2 was just like one day I hope like, you know, Phantom will kind of grow up, mature to a multi-ecosystem, but instead it looks like, well, it's not being abandoned, but you know, people moving to Sonic, and then what about Phantom? So I love Phantom. I believe Tomb will save Phantom. I mean, I have Tomb Chain. What's gonna happen to my L2? You can't migrate the fucking L2 to another chain. Like, did they not think about this? How do you migrate an existing L2 to another like blockchain? You can't. Blockchains are immutable. So I think like, you know, this is actually a very, very, very important like thing that, you know, people need to know about, right? So I'm just addressing, this is just stuff that I see, I don't know if other people see this, but it's important to address. Phantom is an incredible blockchain history, even people. It's all about people, so people that built Phantom, same people that built Sonic, great people, but I don't think they really, really thought about this, right? Because originally I did ask, they said that it was going to continue the history. The only reason the only problem I had when I was running Phantom is it was very, very, very expensive to run a node because of storage. And you know, after I stopped running, it's costing 5 to 10 grand just on Google Cloud to run one validator node. It's very, very expensive. So I'm not sure if they thought it would just be cheaper, but I think it's actually more expensive to run 2 blockchains. But regardless, it doesn't matter. I think maybe that's the reason. I really don't know. Just from my personal experience, storage was a very, very big problem. Like when you run a Phantom validator node. Okay. Incredible blockchain history, but I believe Phantom needs to be transitioned to community run. I don't know how this process is going to work, but you know, as a community, I think it's important. Tomb, people from Tomb, this is super important because I don't know where we're going to run version 2. Like, you have to, this is the thing. Before you, I think this is a problem in crypto too. In DeFi, everybody, when something is like not working, they just abandon it. They just leave it. I mean, if your child misbehaves, you can abandon them? No. It's like the same thing, like in crypto. Why do people, like, I don't understand this in DeFi. Like, this, like, reputation is super important. Like, why would you I mean, when I was following, like a bunch of people messaged me about Phantom and said, "Hey, why did they get to listen on Binance?" And then on Coinbase, like CFTC is looking into like Phantom, like because they did listen on Perp. I'm just like, what are all of these things? To me, Phantom's a great name. It's a great brand. Sonic's a great name too, great brand. But I think they're two completely separate things, and Phantom needs to continue to be supported. And the future of Tomb version 2, I think, we can discuss later, because right now, the biggest focus is just on Tomb. It's the most important. So I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some event that's going to cause the price of t-shirt to go up. Sonic, your people will buy Phantom, but they have to sell Phantom, buy t-shirt, and Tomb. So at some point there's going to be some kind of convergence in price, and that's what the smart money actually sees. But be warned, this is a very, very speculative play, and I think it's important to point out, like, you know, the Tomb community's mission too, because I've met a lot of people that are in Tomb that love the project, like some of the best people. All of our community mods of life came from Tomb. Right? So, like I said, to the same people, right? We're diehard and hardcore committed to continue the pursuit of DeFi. We want to channel all the negative energy into profits and for greater good. That's really, really what I'm using Tomb for. This time it's greater good for greed, right? The place to expose bad actors and scammers in crypto. I'm making a special channel in Discord for naughty people, exposing anons and doxing trolls. There's going to be a comedy channel for roasting trolls and naughty people. And, you know, you might say bullying the bullies, like, come on. Like, if you're going to attack somebody, expect there's a bigger fish that's going to come attack you, right? This is the thing, I hate bullies. They don't deserve you, like, so no problem, bring it on, like, I bring it. You're just giving me more attention anyways, thank you. So then accountability. So look, I'm not here. So here's the big thing. Stop telling lies about, stop telling the truth about you, right? Thank you all. Any questions regarding Tomb? Did that kind of make sense? Everybody? Yeah. Perfect. I can't wait for that first break. Okay, boys, we're live. Everybody, we're live.
Let's go.
We're live.
We're live.
All right. So like the market, we want to have voting, exciting. Okay. So I'm going to talk. So we did Lif3 Ecosystem first, which is the infrastructure and foundation. Then of course we talked about Tomb, which is the ultimate DeFi game. One of the interesting things that actually caused Tomb to fail was actually in stablecoin. So here's the thing: we work with people, you gotta trust them, and when you trust them, they see an opportunity to fuck you, they will. So that's why we have our own stablecoin. That's why we use my finance. But that's a different story, whatever. Water under the bridge. So anyhow, that's why we created L3 Reserve. So totally worth the lesson in collaterals lending. Like I said, I just looked at the relationship that we had with my finance and Phantom. It's just tuition. The Phantom developer conference, I don't regret that stuff ever happening. I don't regret the bad stuff that happened because I'd rather lose small potato money with people that have no integrity than earning big money with my boys that are back from the beginning. So thank you. So what is important about L3 Reserve? Well, L3 Reserve, I found we needed, I really wanted to experiment with stablecoins. I mean, look, I think we're talking about like MIM, all of these other ones, like, USDT, USDC to me, and Dime, those are really, really the other ones, Terra or whatever, it kind of happened. But I wanted to have stablecoin that I could experiment, that could be run on multiple chains and collateralized against multiple. So again, I ran L3 UST first on Phantom with the curve pool, and of course the multi-chain happened and it affected L3 USD. on Phantom, but at some point, even Tomb, things happen well with Tomb, could actually fix some of the multi-chain the issues, because Phantom, right now the stablecoins are based on Axelar and Layer 0 that are traded over. So, but L3 Reserve is a very, very important part of the ecosystem because we all still want to have some stables at some point. So for me, it's a really, really good way of understanding how curve pools work, application factors. Plus, I just thought it would be really, really cool. A big part is, I wanted a utility token. I wanted a volatile token. It's designed to really trade between 95 cents to $1.05. So I tell people, do not hold L3 USD. I don't care if you hold it. It's designed for trading and high volatility. If you want like stable 100%, buy USDT or USDC, right? But the reason I call it a variable, like a volatile stable, variable collateral stable, because there's different types of collateral. You have different types of collateral. Those collaterals, depending on liquidity and volume, they may go up or down. So even though at first L3 USD is backed by stablecoins like USDT, USDC, and DAI, once we get a network effect on Java and everything else, it's going to be backed by the value of what the network is, like what people are willing to kind of pay for it, right? So we're betting on the fact that also things like bonds, as you get more illiquid assets into the market with securities, L3 USD can create partnerships with like real world assets. So L3 Reserve is the real world asset play, and I've designed collateralized lending. I've designed all the stuff that already allows the offline assets in the real world to be actually to work against this. And it works perfect. So when people talk about tokenized securities, like, you don't even need them, because the whole point is if you have a stable coin, people trust that stable coin, you just collateralize the real world asset against the stable coin. Like, you don't have to issue a token. This is the best part. But we'll talk about that later. That's a bit more complicated. So again, this has already been, it's already classified as a utility token. And the reason why it's something that's volatile is designed to be a higher yielding like stable. So the first one is just to really kind of start building deeper liquidity. So just like pure coincidence now, what is it? Like Trump or something said like US stable coins now like are like banks have to support them or something. I don't know, there's some incredible news. So we want to build deep liquidity, unlock borrowing, and expand liquidity pairs, right? So we want L3 USD also to be an alternative, and we have a couple of exchange partners that have already agreed to actually allow us to trade L3 USD against like light pair, tune pair, etc. So it's very, very, very exciting. So again, why another stable? When there was Binance USD and you had USDT and USDC, you had an oligopoly. And right now it's a duopoly. So duopolies are very, very, they're not great for the market because a duopoly, one comes out, then you have a monopoly, right? And monopolies are very, very American, yes, they're not American, right? So, I mean, I believe right now, even like in the US, they talk, I think what's changing now, why they want the Bitcoin reserve is like technically like the Fed has monopoly money printing. So I think by Bitcoin reserve, you have all these other stable coins, Tether. Now you have an open market, and people can actually choose what they want their token to be actually backed by. So I think stable coins are actually really, really good, and we see this as a huge opportunity in the ecosystem. Decentralized, safe, permission, but again, our goal with L3 Reserve is not to be number one. We want to be like, we want to be just kind of really, really focused on DeFi. That's really, really our goal. And for trading, because we're focused on stuff that we believe is going to be huge in like the next 5 to 10 years, not today. But it's more exciting to be involved with things that like building the future. This is kind of really why I started working with Disables 2 years ago. One of the biggest utilities is actually online gaming. So we were at ICE last year. We already have a couple of deals with casinos that are actually ready to go. They're just waiting for LifeChain and everything else. So they want to use an alternative to stables besides USDT. But if you take the USDT, it's crazy. It is the #1 token used in online gambling right now. Right? This is something that this was just like last year, so this is going to continue to grow. So like I said, stable coins, there's really, really not much to them. It's super boring stuff. So that's it. So as I said, the stablecoin is just really designed as another token so that instead of going to $1, in a short period of time, like you have Life and you have L share or 2 million ecosystem token, it settles to L3 USD instead of like on the Life chain ecosystem. It's just our own version of like a stable, and then using like flashy, we'll be able to on ramp, off ramp. That's kind of what we see as the future. Is we're focused really purely just on DeFi. Any questions? Okay, so Book of Life. Book of Life was actually kind of like an interesting experiment. One of my friends, Nico, told me like, it's so crazy. Like, you work on this thing like Life, and there's all these meme tokens and all this other stuff. Look at this thing, it's so stupid. Like the entire market's stupid. People are just buying like all of this stuff, and it got me thinking. I'm like, well, there's consequence to doing a lot of these memes because at the end of the day, there's a human being that's profiting on one side, and there's somebody that's losing on the other side. And so I'm just not a huge fan of like zero-sum games. Like as an entrepreneur and investor, I'm always kind of looking at value. So when I look at the current state of like the entire meme market, and I think what Trump did was actually genius. I'm a huge supporter of Trump, so I think 2 days before being president. So, and just the fact that legitimizes, this is kind of like what starts the super cycle, because memes are all about attention. But why the Trump token, in my opinion, everything else, those kind of tokens make sense because there's a name behind it. There's real people. And if you believe in that person and you believe in what they're doing and it's authentic, and Trump is the most authentic person and his team. So to me, that's why people want it. And they're behind it. And they support it. They're basically saying like they're the ones kind of holding it. So I don't see that a lot in memes. Most people will launch a meme, it'll fail, and then there's other people on the other side that suffer. Right? So to me, memes in some way, they're Toon is a DJ game, you know what you're kind of getting into, right? Memes are just this kind of new DJ game, but I find if you do the DJ game properly and long term, like we actually have a plan for Book of Life, but because I was newer to like the whole meme scene, for me it was really kind of just more experimenting last year. I wanted to see kind of how people collected funds. I wanted to see how the whole process worked. But I always had in the back of my mind that if I couldn't figure out what to do, I would return everybody's money at the time, because you can only lose people's money one time. And I think people don't consider the consequence and the pain and suffering caused when you create a meme project and you take somebody's money, you're actually stealing if you're not providing any value back to them. So when I look at things like Punt.Fund, all of these other things, to me, people tell me about them, I'm just not interested, because to me, that's bad energy, that's just bad. To me, I'm just not interested. So that's why I don't participate in those things. I focus on kind of what's real for me, authenticity. Trust and authenticity is like the currency of the future in my opinion. I'm just tired, people are just tired of losing money. Every meme project I even experimented in, even though my friends put, I support them, they lost money, but some of my friends, at least they are making the effort to give people the money back. So even like T will become low, but people are getting the money back. It's taking a bit longer, but they're still giving people the money back. So hats off to them. I think that's important. You always gotta support your friends too, because sometimes like this industry, it is full of scammers, right? But there's a lot of young guys. See all these guys are 23, 24, 25, and they don't understand. They don't understand your reputation like the most important thing. So you gotta guard your reputation. So I think a lot of the people that are doing memes right now, my advice to you is create some value. Like if you get lucky, great, but don't do something just because you make a quick buck, because it's not a zero. Like, people lose money on the other side. It's not a good thing. So what is Book of Life? I created Book of Life because I really wanted to start looking at the Solana blockchain. A lot of my friends, actually thanks to On, because of him, we met the Jumbo Phone guys, and because we were looking at doing stuff on Solana, Solana's a great project. I love Solana. I was just looking for a great way to be able to bridge the Life chain network to Solana. So, I can have projects to trade back and forth. on both chains, just to kind of learn more about, Solana's network, because the technology has been amazing. So for me, that's why I did the Book of Life. But because memes just kind of really took off previously, and I had memes that I bought from like the previous cycle, which was Fancy, T-Bone, and Zoo. And of course, these are community people too, but when I bought the community, I really had no idea kind of what the project, like Fancy I created, so there's never been a token, so there's no airdrop. But that airdrop was really designed for, I think, people that had problems with the Tomb and Grim, and to me, it's like, I'm not gonna give an airdrop if there's no liquidity and there's no value to be given, because then people are just gonna ask you for liquidity, right? So Fancy, T-Bone, Zoo, etc., anything that we have, it's part of kind of like the Lif3 ecosystem. So if you take a look at this kind of picture, you've got like a Pepe, you've got all the different characters, Fancy. We'll give you the names of all the different characters later, but these are essentially all memes that represent something in like the Lif3 ecosystem. So I think memes are such an important part of culture now that you have to create a category for them inside your own ecosystem. So rather than, like Life is an infrastructure ecosystem, Tomb is a degen game, L3 Reserve is the stablecoin, and Book of Life is like the meme ecosystem that runs online, but also other blockchains. So I think it's important to really kind of understand why I have all of these different things. I don't just build something to make money. I build something because sometimes your attention is on memes, sometimes your attention is on degen, sometimes your attention is like on safety, sometimes your attention is on like stable. So it depends. I want to give people that opportunity to stay in the ecosystem and not leave, right? So you get a lot of stickiness, right? And that's community. This is why the Tomb community, Life community, is the best, because they want to bring other people in and we never want to leave. So that's, Book of Life is really, really kind of designed as kind of an ecosystem to kind of capture attention in a fun way to bring projects to life. So I really just wanted to experiment and gauge the interest of Solana. I forgot to find this, but I had this, I paid, I think, like, just in Dubai, there was this floating sign, I think you guys saw this, it was a big Book of Life advertising billboard. It's quite funny. And it's kind of floating on Book of Life with a big QR code, people go to it. But I just thought it was kind of cool, like, when can you ever do that? So we raised 1,600 Solana before like I think September, October, November. I didn't think the timing was right. We have plans for Book of Life, which we will release later, but it's not time yet. And when the time is right, we will kind of announce, the opportunity for Book of Life. In the meantime, we just returned everybody's Solana. So everything should have been returned on Solana and my base. It was only 1,600 Solana, so it's not much. So again, timing has to be right. So the lesson, at least for Book of Life for me, is for memes, if you take a project, even if you take in money, it's okay to take in money, but if you're not going to do anything, you don't have the idea, it's not ready, return it. Because you have the opportunity to do it again in the future. And that was really the first lesson that I learned with like the memes, is that it's not, actually memes are difficult. It's not an easy thing to do, because every single meme that I've seen doesn't have long shelf life, so you're constantly losing. So as a founder of like a meme project, you're constantly accumulating like negative energy, and at some point it's going to catch up to you, just letting you know. So when Book of Life, I will let you guys know. Thank you all. That's really kind of it for memes, and thank you all for your support. Let you guys know when we're going to have like the next conference, and there'll kind of be a little bit more updates. Thank you. Any questions on memes? No? You've heard it. Thank you. Ow, ow!